Strength, confidence, and even kindness can be faked for a time. But certain subtle, precise behaviors reveal the truth. In a world filled with liars, opportunists, and cowards, guessing who was truly strong wasn't an option. Weakness doesn't announce itself loudly. It seeps through unnoticed cracks. While strong men remain composed in silence, weak men unknowingly betray themselves through patterns they fail to recognize. Once you learn to spot these patterns, in rivals, coworkers, or even yourself, you gain a critical advantage. These behaviors aren't obvious. Most overlook them entirely. But through careful observation, 3 unmistakable signs of weakness emerge. The first, and most subtle, is overjustification. Weak men explain endlessly, while strong men simply decide. A man who constantly defends his choices, overexplains his actions, or seeks validation isn't demonstrating honesty. He's revealing insecurity. Confidence doesn't require approval. True authority speaks sparingly, while those pretending to importance talk incessantly, needing others to affirm their logic. This is the mark of someone whose identity hinges on being liked, not respected. Overjustification is a mask for fear of rejection, judgment, or wielding real power. Power demands silence, conviction, and the ability to act without explanation. When someone endlessly rationalizes their opinions, striving to sound reasonable or morally correct, you aren't hearing strength. You're witnessing a slow unraveling. But this is just the first sign. The second behavior is far more insidious: weaponized niceness. This is weakness disguised as friendliness. A strong man's kindness is deliberate, never at the expense of self-respect. A weak man, however, is agreeable to a fault, avoiding tension, over-apologizing, and staying silent when he should speak. His niceness isn't genuine. It's a strategy to evade rejection. When it fails, resentment surfaces in bitterness or passive aggression. Restraint isn't the same as fear, but weaponized niceness always is. It's the posture of someone who shrinks to avoid conflict. When you see this, compulsive friendliness that sours under pressure, you found a man unfit for power. True strength requires boundaries, the ability to say no, and facing tension without crumbling into false smiles. This behavior reveals a loyalty that will shatter when tested. The third and most desperate behavior is display addiction, the relentless need for attention. These men can't endure obscurity. They exaggerate wins, dominate conversations, and turn every moment into a performance. But this isn't confidence, it's panic. Their fear isn't of poverty, but of irrelevance. Without external validation, they feel worthless. Such men are liabilities. They'll lie, betray, or invent enemies just to stay in the spotlight. Silence terrifies them. Stillness feels like death. To break them, you don't attack, you ignore them. Strip away the applause, and watch how quickly they collapse. Strong men grow in silence and strike decisively. The weak crumble without constant recognition. Combine these 3 traits, the chronic justifier, the fake nice appeaser, and the attention addict, and you don't get a villain. You get a void. A hollow man who molds himself to whoever seems stronger. Emptiness is dangerous. It can be filled with anything, even destruction. The key isn't just identifying weakness, it's using it. These behaviors predict betrayal. Weak men don't break under pressure. They melt. In politics, war, or business, relying on such men is a fatal mistake. To protect yourself, stop judging by words or titles. Study how people act when no one agrees with them, watches them, or praises them. Strong men use silence to build, sharpen, and plan. Weak men perform, explain, and crumble. Once you can spot the difference, you wield a weapon few possess: discernment. The ability to see not just who someone pretends to be, but who they'll become when life turns against them. This is how true strategists choose allies and avoid downfall. While others are fooled by appearances, the wise see deeper. Because beneath polished words and crafted images, behavior never lies. Weakness wasn't just identified, it was transformed into a stepping stone. Where others reacted with frustration or disdain, the astute responded with calculation. Once you understand someone's emotional triggers, how they panic, how they seek validation, you no longer need to confront them. You simply guide them, like a puppeteer pulling unseen strings. The weak crave leadership, They just resent feeling controlled. So, give them what they desire: praise when ignored, agreement when insecure, flattery when desperate for approval. Not out of respect, but because they are easily molded. True power doesn't rely on force. It makes the weak obey themselves by feeding their hunger for validation. Take the chronic over-explainer. Instead of challenging him, listen intently. Nod, affirm, say, "That makes perfect sense." Instantly, he becomes attached, eager to defend and serve, mistaking manipulation for understanding. Then there's the people pleaser, desperate to belong. Give him a role, make him feel chosen, and he'll cling to the illusion of security. He won't betray you, not out of loyalty, but because his fragile identity depends on your approval. As for the attention addict, offer him the stage. Let him take credit, speak loudly, bask in the spotlight, while you control the narrative from the shadows. Give a weak man the illusion of power, and he'll never question who truly holds it. Empires aren't built on brute force alone, but on psychological mastery. Identify the weak, let them build your legacy from their own desperation, and if they turn against you, simply withdraw their lifeline, attention. Watch as they crumble, scrambling to reclaim relevance. The art of handling weakness isn't about confrontation. It's about weaponizing it. Let them perform while you remain still. Let them chase applause while you amass power. But remember the coldest rule: never let a weak man believe he's your equal. The moment he does, he overreaches, dreams of rebellion. Keep the gap wide. Reward just enough to keep him dependent, but never enough to make him think he's indispensable. If he challenges you, don't retaliate, replace him. Weak men are abundant. True strategists are rare. This isn't domination by force, but direction through instinct. Not managing people, but puppeteering their insecurities until they call it loyalty. You don't need titles or grand speeches to control the weak, just understanding and silence. The best manipulation doesn't look like manipulation. It looks like friendship, mentorship, presence. Weak men don't seek truth. They seek signals, moving toward approval like moths to a flame. Once you know this, you shape their behavior effortlessly. Become the quiet listener for the over-explainer, the steady leader for the people pleaser, the unseen architect for the attention-starved. Don't resist their flaws. Feed them just enough to keep them useful. In return, you gain loyalty without demands, obedience without commands. Real power lies in making others believe their decisions are their own. Let them think they chose to follow. Let them feel proud serving you, not because you forced them, but because they never realized they were guided. The tactics, refined. 1. Speak less than expected. Weak men crave verbal affirmation, so deny it. Let them overexpose themselves. When you do speak, make each word feel rare, valuable. A single compliment becomes currency they'll chase. 2. Be the calm in their storm. Weak men thrive on chaos, panic, overreaction, spiraling. Stay composed. Your stillness makes them see you as unshakable, and they'll project strength onto you. 3. Reward unpredictably. Don't be a steady source of praise. Be inconsistent, sometimes acknowledging, sometimes absent. Uncertainty breeds obsession. They'll perform endlessly, desperate for your next nod. This is the art of turning weak men into instruments of your ascent. They'll call it respect, admiration, choice. But you'll know the truth. You saw their cracks, read their behavior, and rose in silence while they drowned in noise. There's only one thing more dangerous than external enemies: the weakness within. He recognized a truth most refuse to face. Weakness isn't just observed in others. It must be hunted within yourself daily. It doesn't announce itself boldly. It creeps in through subtle cracks. The urge to over-explain, the need to be liked, the hunger for applause, the silence you should have broken but didn't. It hides in apologies offered not from principle, but from fear. True self-mastery is a war fought every day. Lose even a single battle, and the world will exploit the flaw before you notice it. To guard against this, he developed a system to detect weakness the moment it surfaced in his own mind. His method: 1. He monitored his explanations. Strong men decide, weak men justify. He trained himself to notice when his words grew excessive, when he repeated points or tailored his message to please. Each time, he asked, "Is this conviction or a plea for acceptance?" If the latter, he stopped. A man who begs for validation surrenders authority. 2. He scrutinized his agreements. Yes is often seen as positive, but he knew it could be lethal. Weak men say yes to avoid conflict, gain favor, or evade boundaries. Before agreeing, he paused and asked, "Would I say this if I weren't afraid of their disapproval?" If the answer was no, he refused, without apology. The moment your word bends to fear, you lose power, even in your own eyes. 3. He measured his relationship with silence. Weak men dread silence. They fill it with jokes, compliments, or explanations. Anything to escape its revealing weight. But he weaponized it. He practiced sitting in stillness amid noise, leaning into discomfort until silence became presence, and presence became effortless influence. 4. He resisted unnecessary visibility. Weak men crave the spotlight. Strong men choose when to step into it. He mastered invisibility, letting others chase attention while he observed from the shadows. When he finally acted, it wasn't seen as effort, it was perceived as arrival. His power wasn't announced, it was felt. Most fail because they focus on appearing strong without eliminating their vulnerabilities. They never ask, "Do I crave praise? Fear rejection? Speak to be heard or agreed with? Need to be liked to lead?" These questions don't just expose weakness, they reveal your limits. Once identified, you have two choices: feed these impulses and remain stagnant, or destroy them and become undeniable. In the eyes of the world, you aren't punished for being ruthless. You're punished for being predictable, emotional, or weak. Strip those traits away, piece by piece, until the day your mere presence commands pause. Respect isn't demanded, begged for, or negotiated. It's engineered. True respect, the kind that lingers in your absence, that quiets rooms before you speak, stems from one thing: mastering what weak men fear most. Weak men fear discomfort, judgment, standing alone. The strong embrace these things. They don't avoid tension, they walk into it. They don't crumble under scrutiny, they sharpen under it. When you kill the need to justify, the hunger for applause, every trace of fear-driven behavior, you become something unsettling, something untouchable. That's why people respect you. Not because you're louder or nicer, but because you reveal nothing. And that terrifies them. Humans fear what they can't decipher. When you enter a room without needing to prove anything, when your silence carries more weight than others' words, the dynamic shifts. People begin measuring their speech around you. They speak carefully, afraid to expose their own fragility in your presence. Why? Because you've mastered what they haven't. The ability to exist without validation, to thrive in solitude, to make your approval rare. And rarity always holds value. The final tactic: make your respect expensive. Don't give it freely. Don't flatter casually. Don't smile without purpose. Force others to earn it. When they realize you're unmoved by charm, pressure, or popularity, they'll adapt to your standards or vanish. Either way, you win. This is how true influence works. Not through overt displays of power, but through an unshakable presence that compels others to question. Why does he unnerve me? Why do I care what he thinks? What does he see that I don't? That isn't intimidation, it's mastery. And it's built by purging every behavior that betrays weakness in yourself and others. Refine your speech, hone your silence, and fortify your identity until respect isn't requested. It's inevitable. You become what he admired most, a man who doesn't command respect. He renders the question irrelevant, not through cruelty, but through calibration so precise it forces others to confront their own inadequacies. So let the weak reveal themselves. Let them talk, seek attention, chase comfort. While they do, build in silence. Move with precision. Until one day, they can't look away and still won't understand how they lost to someone who never bothered playing their game. The final lesson? You don't expose weak men by confronting them. You expose them by never needing to. That is true power. Weakness reveals itself to the patient observer, but mastery belongs to the one who first conquers it within. Every day, the world will test your silence, your conviction, and your ability to move unseen. Remember, true power doesn't shout. It shapes reality without being noticed. If you're ready to sharpen your perception and walk the path where strength becomes second nature, join us. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next lesson. and share your thoughts in the comments. Your insight may be the spark that awakens someone else's strength.